Bill O'Reilly here. You are listening to the O'Reilly Update. Coming up next, the news with Mike Slater.
Thank you, Bill. It is Thursday, February 29th. Happy Leap Day 2024. Here's what's happening today in America. Mitch retiring, Athens presser, Texas wildfires, and an underwhelming Wonka experience. That's all coming up. Then Bill's going to be here with your message of the day. But first, Mitch McConnell will step down from being the head of the Republican Party in the Senate. He will wait to the end of November, though, until after the election. He's 82. He fell last March, and since then has had two, as the media calls it, medical episodes, where he just stops and looks off into space. He has a stroke. They call them medical episodes. Yet he has stayed in power. He said one of life's most underappreciated talents is to know when it's time to move on to life's next chapter. Yeah, Mitch, I think that ship sailed long ago. He's the longest serving Senate leader in history, 17 years. The mayor of Athens, Georgia, gave a press conference that did not go well. Of course, the 22-year-old nursing student who was murdered by that illegal immigrant, that was in University of Georgia, which is in Athens, Georgia. Well, the mayor, back in 2019, Democrat, said we unflinchingly defend the human rights of all people, including citizens, non-citizens, and those without documentation. That was in 2019. He stuck with that yesterday. He said, I want to say that we center our work here on people's humanity, and part of everybody's humanity is the expectation of human dignity. And there was a protester at the press conference who's yelled out, "Oh, please stop it. This is an invasion." These wildfires in Texas and Oklahoma are so massive we can see scorched earth from space. There are 5 active wildfires that have yet to be contained. The largest is called the Smokehouse Creek Fire in Hutchinson County, second largest fire ever in Texas, 500,000 acres. It was growing yesterday at 150 football fields a minute, according to Texas A&M Forest Service. The largest wildfire in Texas history back in 2006, almost 1 million acres. A company in Glasgow used artificial intelligence to make a website for a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory event. Indulge in a chocolate fantasy like never before. Capture the enchantment. And it turned out to be a warehouse with a few lame props and some poorly hung drapery you could take some pictures in front of, and a half-inflated bounce castle, and a table with half-full cups of lemonade, and everyone got 2 jelly beans. It was so underwhelming, someone called the police. It was $44 a ticket. I'm Mike Slater from the podcast Politics by Faith, the great Bill O'Reilly. He has your message of the day. Next.
Running a small business means facing increasing costs to keep the lights on each month. This has been the reality for some time, but it's clear that things are getting tougher. Banks are becoming more cautious and strict about lending money to small businesses, making it seem almost impossible for owners to get the funds they need to operate. Despite these challenges, many small business owners have found innovative ways to keep their businesses moving forward. Capitus, a trusted financing company that is not a bank, has provided more than $5 billion in working capital to small businesses nationwide. They can help businesses like yours navigate through uncertain economic times and thrive. To learn how non-bank financing can benefit your business, visit capitus.com/bill for a free consultation. That's KAPITUS.com/bill. Time now for the O'Reilly Update message of the day. On this Thursday, the essential question President Biden refuses to answer is why he will not close the southern border in the face of so much death and suffering. Why won't he issue an executive order suspending asylum claims until the USA can reorganize its immigration strategy and regulations? There is only one answer. Joe Biden doesn't care enough to do that. Sure, he can and does make excuses for the border, but he really isn't all that concerned about 10 million migrants and a record amount of narcotics flowing into America on his watch. Mr. Biden is not alone in his appalling apathy. Andrew Jackson, for example, and a number of other presidents held slaves, not caring a whit about them. Jackson was particularly brutal towards Native Americans as well. Franklin Roosevelt could have bombed the railway tracks to Auschwitz when He knew Jews were being incinerated there. He didn't care enough to do it. Lyndon Johnson allowed the Vietnam War to rage out of control, understanding he was not protecting American troops as well as he could have. He basically ignored the death and destruction for 5 years. President James Buchanan knew Union troops needed food and ammunition at Fort Sumter in South Carolina. He refused to send supplies to them because he feared he would be blamed for the Civil War. So, presidents don't care about a lot of stuff, and Joe Biden leads the league. I'm Bill O'Reilly. I approve the message by writing it. You can reach me, Bill at BillO'Reilly.com, Bill at BillO'Reilly.com, name and town if you wish to opine. All right, let's go to the mail. We got Eleanor. I didn't know that The View was classified as news and not an entertainment program. ABC News runs The View. Glenda, you mentioned that President Obama deported a lot of migrants at a fairly secure border. If this is so, and Obama's people are part of the Biden administration, I don't know how they are allowing an open border. We know that Biden is not calling the shots. I thought it was people like Barack Obama. There is no evidence Barack Obama is calling any shot in the Biden administration. Not one shred of evidence. Now, some of his advisors are involved, but not him. And I'm not going to do that unless I see something. Sean Ryan, Green Bay, Wisconsin. Last night on the No Spin News, you stated that you can't be fair to President Biden because the fate of the country is in jeopardy. Calling out the failings of the Biden administration is not unfair. It is speaking the truth. But here's my problem. I think he's so bad that I might be blinded to anything good that he does. I fight it, but I got to be conscious of it. Gabriel Martin, Ogden, Utah. I know you expressed that Biden is the second worst president, citing James Buchanan as the worst. While I initially agree with your analysis because Biden didn't do anything to prevent the Civil War, wouldn't reasoning that the number of people hurt under Biden is more than the Civil War mitigate that? No. Civil War, yes. I mean, the casualty count on the battlefield, horrific, 750,000, something like that, killed and wounded. But 100 years after, those issues were not resolved. I mean, it was horrible what happened in the South after the Civil War. And you'll see that in confronting the presidents. In a moment, something you might not know. If you own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles and have an auto warranty about to expire or have no warranty at all, listen up. Car Shield has a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that's now available to the public. Save on out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. So please call Car Shield now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. 800-925-7584 for a free quote. This protection plan is at an all-time low in price. Drivers who activate the vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. So please call for your free quote, 800-925-7584, 800-925-7584. Hey, what do you have to lose? 800-925-7584. Now the O'Reilly Update brings you something you might not know. 88 years ago today, President Franklin Roosevelt signed a joint declaration of Congress known as the Neutrality Act. Despite the growing threat of fascism, the law prohibited the USA from supporting any nation at war, even our allies. Here is the story. The policy states, quote, upon the outbreak of war between two or more foreign states, it shall thereafter be unlawful to export arms, ammunition, or implements of war from any place in the United States. FDR originally opposed that bill, but bowed to public pressure. At the time, many viewed Soviet communism as a greater threat than Nazi Germany. And some Americans even supported the Third Reich. Aviator Charles Lindbergh favored a formal peace with Adolf Hitler. The pilot blamed American Jews for pushing the nation toward another conflict in Europe. Car builder Henry Ford received a Grand Cross of the German Eagle from the Fuhrer himself. Minnesota Senator Ernest Lundin had very close ties to Berlin. He died in a mysterious plane crash right before the war. Even British King Edward III was sympathetic to Hitler's government. Well, back in the States, the American public was largely indifferent towards the Nazi purge. A 1938 survey from Gallup found 72% of Americans believe the USA should turn away Jewish refugees. 54% of the American public claim, quote, the persecution of the Jews in Europe is partly their own fault. And here's something else you might not know. Neutrality remained in effect until March 1941, when Congress passed the Lend-Lease Act. The new policy allowed the USA to sell supplies to the United Kingdom, Soviet Union, France, and China, which was fighting Japan. Just 9 months later, the land of the rising sun attacked the United States at Pearl Harbor. And that's when everything changed. World War II had begun for us. Back after this. Our freedoms should never be taken for granted. They must be cherished, protected, and defended. When corporations pander to the liberal agenda, they must be punished. When corporations stand up for conservative values, they should be supported. This brings me to Freedom 2.0, the bottled water company that proudly represents us. They have hilarious sayings on each bottle like, "This water ain't woke," and "bottled with liberal tears." Use the code BILL for a 15% discount and subscribe to Freedom 2.0. We must never discount freedom, but we can discount water as long as you use the code BILL. Please visit freedom20.com to order now. That's freedom, the number 2, the letter O.com. Freedom20.com, use code BILL for 15% off. Thank you for listening to the O'Reilly Update. I am Bill O'Reilly. For more news and honest analysis, please go to BillO'Reilly.com. No spin, just facts, and always looking out for you.